What's up, guys? I'm Sam McVeigh with the Killer Growth Podcast, and today I have Dustin Stanfield with Stanfield Roofing and Dorado Building Systems. So thanks for making the journey over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a long journey for you.
No, just right across town.
Just right across town. Yeah. And in this town, that's what is it? I always debate about that. Is it 1.5 miles across our town, or is it 2?
I think
like if
it's
you go
at
from
least 2.
the west to the east end, 2.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. All right. Have you listened to an episode or seen any clips? All right. Nope. So you're brand new to the format.
Yep.
Perfect. So we start with an easy soft serve.
Okay.
So we just say, give us your story from your leaving high school to what brought you here today.
Oh man, that's been a long time since I left high school. That would,
you can give any version you want.
Oh man, right out of high school. Basically, I just was day working, doing cowboy work, breaking horses, working for the sale barn. Moved to a couple different states to train horses. Lived in Missouri, lived in Georgia, training cutting horses. That was fun. That was an absolute blast.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Just being a young kid and, lived with my bags packed. Especially when I was living in Missouri. We had 64 indoor stalls and 150 by 100 indoor arena in between the stalls. So it was a huge, huge barn. I had riding 22-year-olds and probably had 50 horses I was keeping exercised and trained besides that. And we ran probably 600 head of heifers. And yeah, it was fun. I'd be cleaning stalls on any random day, and they'd come in and be like, hey, you got your bag packed? We're sending you to Texas to pick up a horse. And man, 19, 20-year-old kid, here's a card, get a hotel room, go get your meals. And, and then they would farm me out to other trainers, and I went to Utah with another trainer and loping horses outside Salt Lake City, and, been everywhere from pretty much almost Florida to Colorado, riding horses, Texas, Nebraska, Tennessee, all over. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then got older, of course. That didn't pay very well. It was fun, but it didn't pay very well. And kept in the cowboying business and started riding pins and feedlots, and ended up after about died in the shipping fat cattle to the market. I was like, I had kids, and I'm like, this is just, it's a little rough. And
like getting trampled? Or
mm-hmm. Yeah, I was riding a little yellow stud horse, and he slipped and fell, and the fats had got spooked from the driver jumping up over the front of the tub, and luckily I was able to just basically roll through the fence about the time the horse got ran over and trampled, and they came back and smashed the gate, and luckily the horse was okay. He's a little dinged up, but I was 25 at the time, and the guy above me was 27. My boss was 29, so it's like I knew I wasn't going anywhere, you know, and working 60 to 70 hour weeks year round, 12 days on, 2 days off. Every other Thanksgiving and Christmas off was about the days we got off, and I wasn't making very much an hour, just with kids and stuff, and having another one on the way. I applied at the refinery as one of the sub companies that was out there, and they brought me in for an interview and all that, and pretty much told me I had the job. So I went and put my 2 weeks notice in, and then a week and a half later, I still hadn't heard from him, and I'd already put my 2 weeks notice in, and that's when Dad came through with an offer for the company and said,
what year was that approximately?
2000 into 2007, beginning of 2008, because I started in February 2008.
Okay.
And so, and then the rest is history. Just worked my way up from the bottom.
Sure.
So, and here we are today.
Yeah, perfect. So give me your background more specifically. We can talk about Stanfield. That's the beginning, obviously. And Dorado Building Systems came later.
Yep.
But how did Stanfield Roofing start? How did your dad start that company?
So he was working for a place in town called Job Readiness Training, JRT. hauling around underprivileged kids, teaching them work ethics. It was a company that was in town, ran by a couple of guys from the church that he attended, and one of the guys that he knew had started a roofing business, been doing spray foams in southeast Kansas, and his dad decided that JRT program he was kind of time to move on, and he went to work for a guy named Rick Murphy. And after, I think, probably a year or a little less, Rick told Dad, you need to start your own roofing company. And that's kind of how it started. Dad went door to door and just started giving out business cards. And
so you learned roofing from that?
Yeah, from spray coating.
Okay.
They did spray foams and spray coatings. That's how we started.
Yeah. That's great. And what year was that?
I believe that was back in 2001.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, so then you weren't involved so about 7 years later then.
Yeah.
He was building it and had a spot. Okay. What was your first job at Stanfield Roofing?
I was the low man on the totem pole. I got to clean the shop and help load the trailers in the morning, and then of course I was on the crews, and so I did all the shop work, changed all the oils in the trucks, the few trucks that we had at the time, and we just had one truck and trailer, and we had a shop rented down on Star Street, so I kept that clean, kept the truck serviced, and like I said, I started at the bottom. I was third man on the crew.
Yeah. And then what was that? When did you actually learn the roofing side? Was it
during that process?
Yeah.
Basically, within less than a year. It's a little different working for family. Mm-hmm. The jobs wouldn't get done when he thought they would, and he wouldn't go to the guys that were recruits. He'd come to me, hey, why don't the jobs get done? Well,
yeah.
If that's the case, I'm gonna need to start running the crews. If I'm gonna be the one to have to answer those questions. And so I said, he taught me I think I sprayed one day 15 minutes on a roof, and then after that I turned me loose.
Gotcha.
I'd carried his hose, and because when you're spray coating on a roof, you got to have guys dragging hose out of the way, so it's not dragging in the coatings, and keeping watching his back, making sure it doesn't fall and that kind of stuff. And I'd drag hose and stuff, but I didn't get a coat very much before he said, "Hey, go get this job done." And it's just kind of learned on the fly.
Yeah. I mean, so did your dad, obviously, I guess, being out there prior. And
and I picked up a lot of stuff from him, just, him telling me how things work, and I was able to, I can visualize that and put it into play. And then the guy he worked for and the guy he'd done work for, Rick Murphy, he taught me a lot as well. And so, being around those guys that had years of experience for sure helped.
Sure. Explain to me TPO process. You've got rolled roofing, tar.
Thermal polyolefin.
Thermal
polyolefin.
Polyolefin.
Yeah. So TPO basically is a 10-foot wide, 100-foot long rolls. It's a single ply membrane.
Okay.
There's a multitude of ways to attach it, from mechanically fastened to fully adhered, which fully adhered means it's glued down. Mechanically fastened means at every 10 foot, there's a seam and there's a section on the TPO that actually has a line 6 inches from the edge, and you fasten in that section, and then the next overlay that, and then the next 10 foot gets another. So every 10 foot it's fastened. It's still, you can still get all the warranties and stuff. It just, you have to stretch it really good by hand that way. And if you don't, you can get some ballooning. It doesn't affect it any, but it just, aesthetically, it's not as nice.
Sure.
It's cheaper.
What, do you put anything under that? I've always wondered that. I've been on those roofs, and it feels like, I've been on them before, and it feels like spongy underneath.
Yeah. Yes. And it shouldn't too much on the TPOs. The thicker the insulation, the more spongy it is, depending on the application. Whether it's a general contractor's job through an architect, or whether somebody's paying for it outright, depending on what installation's called for. I mean, it's anywhere from a 1/2 inch heavy duty cover board. It's like you're walking on basically sheetrock or solid floor to. I've seen some of those things 22 inches thick of insulation where guys just glue layers to get an R value and a slope value, and so it's just kind of depending on the job and what it calls,
because you got
for. But for the most part, generally it's a 1/2 inch to 4.5 inches, because here where we're at in this climate zone with the IECC codes, we have to be at an R30, so that takes 2 layers, a 2.6 inch and a 1/2 inch layer. So,
and what does that measurement mean? The R30? What do you mean by
it's
that?
the R value, the
grade,
the insulation that you have to have.
The insulation.
Yeah, because you either have to have it below deck or above deck. If you don't have any insulation below deck, you have to have it above deck.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so that insulation, that you can actually walk on that stuff though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they're putting on there.
Yeah.
What's the breakdown commercial roofing? I guess in your 2008. So you're coming on 20 years of being there.
When I started, we were strictly 100% coatings.
Right.
Doesn't matter what style, what it was. We were coating it.
Coating
whether it was
everything.
metal roof or a modified bitumen or even a single ply. We've coated some rubber roofs and single plies, but as times change, technologies change. New products come out,
Sure.
better and greater, faster, easier.
Well, how has that changed commercial roofing from 25 years ago?
A lot. Even 25 years ago, a lot of things were hot mopped on, hot asphalt. There's still some of that going on, but that's really died out a lot.
Sure.
Especially through here, in the more seasonal climates. It really has died out a lot around here and around most places, just except certain places in the country due to climate and that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. What's been the hardest part about taking over family business? You just acquired the business
end of 24.
end of 24.
So it's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
A lot, I would say. I managed the company for 7 years, but I didn't do the financials. That's been the biggest thing, learning the financial side, learning all the business rules that, from OSHA to, to having 1099 employees, to having regular employees, all the rules and regulations has been the biggest part. The, making sure there's, bringing in a, HR person, it's just, that's the biggest part to learn, because the business side of it hasn't changed. It's just been all the legal stuff, the legal side to cover yourself and, make sure everything is above board and done correctly. And so bringing it into the 21st century.
Talk about the timing with your dad. Like when did that start being discussed, and how long did it take?
It's been 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
We talked about it because he moved away for 7 or 8 years to Texas, and that's kind of when I took over managing. Excuse me. And we had talked about it a little bit then, and back in 22, 23, we just started to discuss it, and then my son had his medical issue, and that everything kind of got put on the shelf in the back burner. We just started really discussing it before that, and finally, like, real discussions, just not one of these days it's going to be yours kind of discussions, and so then it really kicked off at the end of 23, start of 24. I'm like, if we're going to do it, we need to do it, and so I just started working up some purchase options and some stuff for him to look at, and finally got everything hammered out in November of 24. So,
was that timing wise? Did it all make sense? I'm sure he's ready to hang his hat up, or was that harder for him than he thought? It
it was definitely harder for him because he's at that he's one of those old school guys that if he's always got to be doing something, and it's hard for him to go from having a job managing a company to not having a project or something.
Sure.
He's got to stay busy. So, but the timing was pretty well. I was wanting it done a little sooner, but and hindsight being what it was, maybe I'd have waited until January instead of November. Just for
right.
just for tax reasons and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
you live and you learn.
What was the biggest thing you learned in that process with, obviously you have to get an attorney to write up bylaws and.
But I don't know a lot of the legal stuff.
Right.
It's been, this last year has been a real crash course in all the legal etiquette basically of owning a company and what it takes. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
And, knowing what all the laws are, with employees and knowing, all the software and stuff we need and, getting the new processes and put in place and the kind of the way we do things. And it's been a long journey in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the biggest project in front of you right now? You've mentioned this to me prior to this, actually, the new software you guys are getting into.
Yes.
What does that entail?
Right now, we're introducing two different softwares. One is called Centerpoint. It's for all our day-to-day operations, sales, service, where all our projects get logged, where all the pictures go, the bids come out of. That's 2 times a week with the Centerpoint integration team on Zoom calls where one of them's for just the ladies in the office, and the other's for the sales guys and the service, teaching the 2 different aspects of it. And then we are, for the second time since I bought the company, we're switching payroll softwares because the biggest thing with that is we're in multi-states. And, QuickBooks doesn't do multi-states. You have to buy it, basically be in every state. You can't do it out of one location.
Gotcha.
You have to have multiple QuickBooks accounts, which we didn't want that. And the next company we got, we do multi-states. Get into it, and then we don't do multi-states. So,
dang.
But anyway, QuickBooks is the desktop's going away, and we didn't want to do the cloud version. So we're switching to a company called Spectrum.
Okay.
And they do everything. They do all the books, and they do payroll, multi-state payroll. So it's all in one. So we had, we were running 5 different softwares to do all our sales, service, books, payrolls, So to get, we were paying for all of them. So, we've got them down to 2, which is going to make our life a lot easier. Going to make the ladies' lives in the office a lot easier, and the sales guys' lives a lot easier because they communicate. Both of those programs communicate with each other, and also there's more information readily available to sales guys and service guys when they're out in the field. That's been the biggest thing is with what we have now, it works, and we've made it work good for us. But, if guys are on a job that have multiple locations that we do work for, they don't know what's been bid and what, So with this new software, they'll be able to jump onto this customer and see everything that's been done right in front of them on the screen. So it's going to be really nice.
You're meeting with them twice a week or 2 different teams for how long?
Usually it's at least an hour. And
how long have you been meeting with them every week? Has it been going on for? It's
been going on now for 3 or probably 4 weeks.
Wow.
Which we're the Centerpoint when it's in the field right now running for the most part on the service side. They're still getting some kinks worked out. The sales guys should be starting it here before too long. Now the Spectrum one with all the books and everything that has to go in there and all the classes you got to create and everything that goes in that's they're having at least I think it's 3 meetings a week and at 7 in the morning the ladies have to be in, and it goes for a couple hours, and then they've got homework to boot on top of it. Exporting stuff in files and customers and just spreadsheets. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, and that's going to take pretty much 3 months to get all turned over.
Yeah,
it's 3 to 4 months, and it's probably closer to 4 months when it's all said and done on that side. And they're working on it I mean, I'm sure they're working on it, 30 of their 40-hour work weeks at this point. I mean, it's just, there's a lot goes into it.
Yep.
I mean, more on the roofing side than our building system side, because,
Sure.
we don't have the employee list on the building system side, and, not quite the customer list that we have base yet, but, just ran a little different. So yeah, it's a lot of work going on right now.
Yeah.
Plus,
you guys are busy.
we are very busy right now, and there's stacks of bids going out, and they've got to do all that in the same time that they're doing all their homework for their new books, and then they're trying to integrate those new bids into the new stuff, and then but it's all not set up, so they still got to put it in the old system to a degree, and so
double entering everything.
yeah. They're definitely working their tails off right now in the office. The ladies are.
Talk about the commercial roofing industry. What's something, if someone's listening that's in the commercial roofing industry to this podcast, what's something interesting about that industry that people should know before they get into it?
Well, it's tough to get into. I mean, it really is. During the slow economy times, you'll see a lot of guys pop up, and they'll start with residential, and they'll try to do commercial, and they just never last. And it's all about customer service, and so for us anyways, it's got to be about the customer and customer service, and it's not an easy thing to get into. Even when you're into it, it's still hard, because you get guys that we've been running into a lot of guys lately with it. Been like last year was pretty slow for an industry wide. I think we do new construction, but we don't like to advertise just because of the the time constraints that you're put under by other people. You're kind of moving it.
Sure.
You're moving to their beat of the drum.
Right.
And so, especially if it's out of town, you got a lot of starting and stopping. So, So yeah, I mean, with last year.
So with it being lower last year, were there people just low bidding,
yeah,
low balling stuff?
It was terrible. I mean, guys just cutting the feet out from under everybody, and those just don't tend to last very long. I mean, it stinks that you lose those bids, but you try to teach the customers,
right.
Hey, just because it's cheaper, don't make it better.
Yep.
And you generally get what you pay for.
What in your world is a bad delivery or a bad outcome when someone pays for a commercial roof?
Well, generally, I mean, with most of the roofing we do, we're 90% TPO.
Yeah.
Which most of the all the bids we go on are all TPO. So, when somebody comes in there and really lowballs those, it's generally either somehow they're not forced to stick to the scope of work or the spec, or what happens a lot of times is they bid them cheap, and then they'll go back and change order people to death, and that's just like. And then I've talked to multiple people, be like, now that this project is done, you go check back, and even if you lost a bid to somebody, you keep that relationship with that person. Be like, hey, how'd your project turn out? Just want to see how it's going. They're like, end up costing more than what you guys had bid. Well, it was, or I've seen them come back and be like, oh yeah, we forgot a roof. You can't forget a roof if you've been there on for a pre-bid meeting. It just, I mean, it does happen, but not when they're,
sure,
just not, it shouldn't. And,
right.
Just seen a lot of stuff like that where, people come in, deliberate bid it cheap, and then have an excuse, or, there's change orders coming and people don't realize that. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is it the quality side could make sense too? I think.
Yeah,
it's
and it's a lot of it's in the detail that you'll get on a roof, and you'll see. Yeah, you can tell when you get on a roof if people all they've looked at is price.
Yeah,
because the detail on the roof is not up to par, or it's not up to spec of the manufacturer. You can tell they used inferior products underneath. How it was installed. Because a lot of people can lay the field of the membrane, the basic wide parts of the roof, but it's when you get into the corners, the pipes, all the detail stuff, that's when it really lacks. And that's where you have your issues, because that's your penetrations.
Right.
And
it's where all the failures or potential failures.
Yeah, your corners and your pipes and your pitch pans and, your termination bar, all that kind of stuff. It's, that's the stuff where it really suffers with cheap work.
What you said, customer communication, what else do you guys feel like it separates you from other commercial roofers, or maybe even more so the low ball?
Well, yeah, the customer service is our main one. I mean, it's you take care of the customer regardless of if it costs you or not. Customer is always right. That kind of mentality. They've got to be happy with you because that's your name going on the roof.
Yeah.
And then I think the other thing is we don't.
Do you actually put your name on the roof? Is it like under the TPO, the membrane?
We have some weld-on patches.
Okay, nice.
I don't think we've installed those for a long time, but we had some time.
Anyone's happens to just be hanging out up there. I wonder who put this in.
Yeah,
I don't know how often that happens.
Yeah, there's a few of them around. But the other thing is it's not necessarily selling to the customer; it's informing and teaching. And. We try to have a little bit different mentality on going into those, and the kind of stuff we put together to inform.
Yeah, I like that line of thinking and process. If you provide enough value before you transact with them, that means you're probably building a lot of trust. And what else do you guys do to build relationship and trust to grow the business?
Like I said, just make sure we're taking care of the customers. Making sure we're visiting them, making sure that they don't have any issues getting out, trying to get out within 24 hours if they do, and just making sure they're taken care of, because most of our work honestly is return customers. Whether it's another GC calling us, hey, you did all these roofs for us, we got another one, versus schools, churches, it's just word of mouth. We don't do a bunch of big advertising. It's just not the way the company's ever been built and the way the company's ever worked.
What as you're like re-engaging people that you've already worked for, or you're wanting to help people that already have a commercial roof you've not worked for, like what's your best advice for someone with a commercial roof? To take care of it, to maintain it.
That's a great
besides
question.
You just show up.
That's a great question.
20
actually.
years.
You've got to teach them, and help them learn, and understand why it's important to maintain your roof, to be proactive on it, not reactive, which means not wait till it leaks, and then which could be it stop those issues before they happen, because you're protecting inside, your investments inside your building. All your work happens inside your building. Whether you're in, doesn't matter what you do, whether it's a school, church, warehouse, sales, whatever, your products are inside your building. We've seen so many times people go in and fix up the inside of their buildings, and then the first time it rains, they're like, we need a new roof, and you go tell them what they need, and then like, we don't have the money, we spend all the money inside. Well, I mean, then they're in kind of a catch-22, and then you got to help them. Hey, this is what you need to budget for. This is what we can do to get you by with our service maintenance programs. Get guys here to get you taken care of, and help you budget to get to that time to when you can afford to get your new roof put on. Yeah. So,
what type of maintenance, preventative maintenance, can be done over? I get a new roof, I just leave it. Do I do anything after until it leaks and then I call you?
No, that's definitely not the way to do it.
Right.
Especially if you have with the warranties, you have to have some sort of physical proof that you've been up there maintaining your roof.
Okay.
We have what we call RTM rooftop maintenance programs, where we can come out twice a year, depending on what you want to do, and inspect your gutters, because the biggest part of this is that gutters getting clogged, or debris building up on the roof and causing backups, and or drains getting clogged. With our rooftop maintenance, we come out and clean all that. Walk the roof, inspect it for any visual impairments, damages, anything that's happened. 'Cause you'd be surprised this country, as much wind we get here, whether it's a storm or not a storm, we get a lot of wind.
Yeah.
You'll have, piece of metal blow off the neighbor's building, blow across your roof. You'll never know it if, for the most part. We get up there, you'll see, cuts in the roof or, even 4th of July, I found so many bullet holes in roofs and people, shooting up in the air and then coming down, found bullets in the roofing membrane, seen holes all the way through. Just, you just never know what you're going to find up there.
Have I missed that? Is that pretty common on 4th of July to just shoot guns in the air?
I guess. You'd be surprised.
I've not been to that
quite
4th of July party yet, but it makes sense. It's freedom, baby.
It does, especially in, in some of the tougher neighborhoods, honestly. We'll get up there and be like, hey, we found some bullet holes up in there. They're like, yeah, 4th of July, these guys right here shooting, shooting guns in there. I'm like, that's kind of shocked me too the first time I'd heard that. I'm like, because I've never done it.
No.
But I've found multiple bullet holes in roofs.
Yeah.
And the only way for them to, get a hole through is to be shot up to come down.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point.
Unless they shoot from the underneath side. I've seen guys that have they had the bird pellet, the shotgun shells with the bird pellets in it, and trying to shoot pigeons inside their big giant warehouse with 40-foot tall roofs. So you go up there and there's like dimples in the top of the roof where it's coming out from the bottom side. They're like, no, we weren't shooting birds in here. I'm like,
what were you shooting?
Yeah,
you were shooting something. Well, my brain now can't stop just thinking about all the ways a bullet could get onto a roof.
It's something I do. You always run into interesting stuff.
Oh,
I'll say that. We found some weird stuff on the roof.
In your line of business, there are storm chasers, correct?
Yep.
They'll go wherever the storms are because that's where insurance is paying. Mm-hmm. Do you guys ever chase storms at Stanfield Roofing? No. Nope.
We do not chase storms. What we do is, like I said, if there's a storm in an area where we've roofed with people before, we'll go. We go check on our customers. We'll send out a flyer to all our customers. We'll call them, and because that's part of our deals is free storm inspections, for our customers. So if they think they've had storm damage, either they generally we'll get a hold of them before they get a hold of us, but if it's an area where we've had a lot of customers, they'll call in, but we try to make sure after a storm what we think would have caused them damage, then we for sure will go out and check them and take care of them.
So fast forward, what year did Stanfield buy El Dorado Building Systems?
2019.
2019. Okay.
Yep.
So 6 going on 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
Well, we were buying all of our metal for our roofs through Brad Cool, who owned it at the time, and I know Brad and Dad had talked to, and I think either Brad had asked Dad or Dad asked Brad if he'd ever be willing to sell, and I think Brad asked Dad if you ever want to buy it, one of these days I'll sell it, and I think it was only like 3 months later, Brad was ready to sell, and Dad was like, "I wasn't expecting it that fast,"
Right.
or Dad had asked him. I don't remember how that actually came about because I wasn't part of that, but it happened pretty quick, and then actually I transitioned from the roofing side to the building side because I understood metal wall panels and all the pieces and parts and all that, but the other thing that came with El Dorado Building Systems was putting up metal steel structures, metal buildings. Which I did not know anything about how a building went up. I knew it had red iron in it. That's about it. And then metal wall. Well, I knew the roof panels and the wall panels, because they're all they're the same. But how they went up, all the construction, all the the different codes and everything. I didn't have any idea on that. So I spent the next year down there before we transitioned it into our main building.
Oh, at the original business location. Okay.
Yeah. And
just learning, working under Brad.
Under Brad, Brad.
Yeah.
Brad stayed for the first year, which was a godsend because he's one of those guys that's probably forgot more about buildings than I'll ever know. and just a wealth of knowledge and willing to do whatever he could to help. And, it was really good to work with, and
That's cool.
it really helped out a lot. So
I like Brad. We've had lots of good conversations over the years. So transition out of that, you do that for a year. You come back to Stanfield with El Dorado Building Systems now under one roof.
Yep.
And then you guys are building steel frame.
Yep. You're building red iron buildings.
Red iron buildings. Some big ones, right? One I saw. What was the biggest one you built?
It was for bolt conveyors in Wichita. It was 215 wide by 750 long by 30-foot eaves.
How many square feet is that, real quick?
I believe it was like 165,000, somewhere in there.
Jeez. Yeah, so that's
we built the one
big.
for Mears out west of town. Their new warehouse is 50,000 foot.
Gotcha.
We put up it was Orscheln's, but now it's Bumgars. We put that one up.
Oh, that's right. You guys did build Bumgars.
We just did the labor on that. Orscheln's, or it was Orscheln's at the time. They purchased all their own buildings, but we put up a few of those for them.
Yeah.
So.
And then you can go as small as
20 by 30, 20 by 20 with the central bolt up series building. There's a few options.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All
well, and we, we've built on to existing buildings on lean-tos. I mean, there's so much things you could do. It's.
Yeah. What's been the best and worst part about adding El Dorado Building Systems to the business?
The best part, honestly, is just what it brings to the company. I didn't fold it into Stanfield Roofing. It's its own entity because we sell panels and stuff to other people and stuff. So, kind of wanted it still kind of stand alone. But so the best has just been being able to buy our own metal through our own company. So
yeah,
it
nice.
kind of helps instead of having another person being the middleman. We're our own middleman on that,
Yeah.
And then putting up. I think putting up cool buildings, man. I like putting up buildings.
Yeah.
They're pretty neat because they're just. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone's a challenge. We put up hangars and we've put up, like I said, great big commercial buildings to somebody's barn.
Sure.
So, I would say the
hardest. Hardest is the right word.
There's not a worst part.
I'm
the hardest part, honestly, has
podcast
been
host.
learning the buildings for me. I mean, because it was something that I had not ever been around. And just, it's kind of funny. The first time that, I just had moved down there with Brad, and, Brad didn't do a bunch of bid work, which means he didn't do a bunch of work for GCs and that kind of stuff. He put up he put up more for the end user, like, somebody's putting up a large farm machine shop on their on their property, or,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. And so I think it was within like the first couple of days I was down there, we got one of our GCs that we do work for. They wanted us to bid the gymnasium addition at the Eureka School. And that was, I told Brad about it, and he's like, get to it. I'm like, I didn't know anything. So, I've had to peg a lot of questions off of him, but we ended up getting it and building it, and that was my first one.
Oh, wow.
And not knowing anything about buildings, right into, messing with architects and GCs and from never building a building to the first one was a 10,000 foot gymnasium. It was a sure steep learning curve, but we got through it. We got through it, and it's been really good. We've I think that's what we've done. The biggest change with the company's been really transitioning it more to commercial.
Okay.
So.
Not doing
we'll do anybody's, but it's just getting into commercial with it.
Yeah.
Has been really good.
Was most of El Dorado Building Systems clientele?
They were end users,
farmers, end users,
end users, really.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. And then you also built that tire shop, right? Did you guys build that? I was thinking of another cool metal building, but on a not on Haverhill.
The one right across from the shop?
Yeah, right down the street from you.
No.
You didn't do that one. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was another one of the early on ones, but
No.
someone else. Yeah.
Didn't build that one.
Well, sorry you missed out on that.
Hey,
Plenty to go around.
yeah.
Yeah. What are your hopes in the next 10 years? Where do you hope to have Stanfield and El Dorado Building Systems? We can go 5. 10's pretty far out.
Yeah.
Next 5 years.
Well, the next 5 is is getting all the new software implemented, all the new scopes of procedures, and then just making it as efficient as possible, and then start diving in on the overhead costs and just trying to streamline it, but just keep it growing.
Yeah.
We're at 33 employees on the Stanfield side, and once you hit that 50 mark, everything changes.
Yeah.
So I'd like it to grow, but I'm not sure I want to, get above 50.
Be a mid market. Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff changes at that point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I still like we want to be big enough to do any kind of job, but small enough not to lose that not necessarily mom and pop simple touch, but the smaller business touch where with that customer service, don't get so large that ever changes.
That's a good way to put that. Thinking about if you get big enough, how can you control customer service, quality control, and if that's not clear, then
right people in place.
Yeah,
that's what's going to help you have the right people in place,
and that takes time and finding the right people. And if you grow too fast, you bring in the wrong person.
Trust in your team that you have. I've got a very good core team at the first Stanfield.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Stanfield and El Dorado Buildings, because they help advise me on those too. It's just the way we work. So I trust them and they trust me. So
yep, got to go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So then I guess let's go forward deeper into the industry. I guess, do you think there's any big technology improvements happening in roofing since what you guys already saw, or anything you're seeing on the horizon? Is it going to be the same materials? The material going to get better?
Yeah, they're always looking to improve the material, material quality, material durability. With what they've got now, it's just in making sure everything's always a spec. And I don't see there's, like I said, they're always innovating, but I don't see a major change in a new material showing up.
Yeah.
It's just improving the material that's there.
The Tesla of the car industry, you think that's already happened with TPO? Like that's probably the that's innovation hard. Of roofing.
That's hard to say, just because because you've got metal, you've got your single plies, you still have your rolled roofing, and you have your mod bits and that kind of stuff. So I don't. They've tried to add some futuristic stuff to it. Some you can put gardens up there now, and and all that kind of stuff, and they're just a different attachment rates, different attachment styles. But it's hard to, I've not heard of anything coming down the pike, a brand new super roofing system that's coming down. There's coatings, and I think most of the systems are out there. Some are improving, and some are falling kind of the wayside as they get out, as they get dated.
How do you think AI is going to affect your industry?
Honestly, I'm not. I'm not too sure. Honestly, I'm not. I'm just getting, trying to learn the AI side myself. So
sure.
I'm not real big into that yet. But it helps from, just in language and concept wise, it's helped us. And, but, I'm not too much up on AI. So
yeah.
Because I still like to have all the customer interaction I can. So
right. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think the bigger part of that is just, does AI replace people? And it's right per industry.
Like
I think
stuff we've worked on, with having the automated, looking at maybe the automated answering stuff,
sure.
where somebody an AI can hit that in the background. That's to help with facilitate calls and stuff. That's, like I said, we've worked on that with you guys and looked into that. Just not sure, how that would integrate with us yet. But everything's going AI though. So, and you gotta keep up with the times.
Yep. Yeah, it's always interesting. I think some people are losing sleep over it, and some people like you are like, well, how can we use it today, and how do we not want to use it? And that's okay.
If it can help me. But we'll always be front and center, person to person. So
yeah, for sure. What was the hardest day since you've been an owner for? So it was 24. So you're on your 2 years.
I'm at just over. It was the end of 24. So it's been about 14 months.
Oh,
total.
wow. Yeah. So this is real fresh.
Yeah.
Perfect.
What's been the hardest?
Yeah. And it can be more just the hardest thing that causes the hardest day.
I don't want to comment on that one.
That's okay. That's fair.
But from just because it's personal and it involves employees, but
sure. What was the best day?
Man, honestly, the best day I think was. You're gonna have to give me a second to think about that.
That's okay.
Because there's been a lot of good days. There's been a lot of hard days.
One of the best days or one of the hardest days is probably the better way to ask that question.
Honestly, probably the best day was when for me so far has been the day everything was the dotted line was signed and we got through that process, because that was a tough process, and
because there's a lot of work all the way up to that point.
There's a lot of paperwork going into. I mean, even with a familial buyout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Dad just said, "Here's a company, it's yours," and signed over. That's not how it worked.
Yeah.
I'm paying him. I mean, I bought it. We're paying him each month. So it's even though it's a family carry deal, it's. But that was probably when I finally became owner. I think because I've been here for years, and that was always the end goal, and it's just. I don't know, 15 years of working to get there, and I'm grateful that it wasn't just given to me. I'm grateful that I didn't start at the top. I started at the very, very bottom as you could get here, and, learned it completely through from, just running the warehouse basically to running the crews, then to managing, and then, now to the end goal.
Yeah.
So now it's just making it bigger, better, faster, stronger.
Yep. Exactly. Well said. Well, good job. Appreciate your family, you, your dad. You guys have done a lot for our community and surrounding communities. Excited for you. Good job going from the bottom to where you're at today. And I'm glad you guys found that transition. But I just want to say that. Appreciate everything you guys do for the community. And
we try to be local and involved, so
for sure. Yeah, you got to hit at least one more basketball game, this week. You've only been to like all of them.
Yeah, be night 4 tonight for homecoming. I'm looking forward to that, though. I was gonna say, even after the boys are old enough to move out, I told, since we're so close to the high school, middle school, that's probably what we'll do in our older age. Is go to all the basketball games and football games. We enjoy that.
Yeah.
Just watching. I mean, we've always enjoyed sports. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, it's important to go to your local
absolutely
sports teams and support them. And so.
Yeah, we like going to watch the college play football and basketball.
Yeah.
It's fun. Get out to some baseball every once in a while. So.
I just saw my first Butler volleyball game.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch.
I've not been to one of those. I know my son has, because his one of my son's best friend's moms is the coach. So
okay, there you go.
Luxembourg. Yeah. So great family.
Yeah, great family too. Well, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, appreciate you.